Hello everyone. Today I'll be demonstrating the custom feature definition manager import and export in Trimble Business Center version 3.80. To open the feature definition manager, you can go to the top toolbar and select this icon. This will bring up the feature definition manager, which is a standalone application outside of Trimble Business Center. Once the feature definition manager is loaded, what we'll show is the new import and export for CSV files. The first thing to do is create a new feature definition library. So you can do this two ways. One, by selecting File, New File, or selecting the New File icon here. So what this will do, will create a brand new feature definition library, which is called an FXL. Here you can give some background information like author, as well as a description for the feature definition library. Next, we can go to File and select the Import Custom CSV File. And what this does is it brings up a dialog screen. Here the first step is to select a source file. So right now we read in CSV files. To open a CSV file, select this, browse to your CSV file, select it, press open, and the CSV file is populated here in this window. So you can see there was some header information in the CSV file, and then a lot of information for point coding as well as layers and that. And at the bottom we also have coding for line work. So the first step to do is define which is points, lines, polygons, blocks, or control codes for lines and blocks. In this case, I know that the points for the codes have code, style, point label style, description, and layer here. And I can select this information. So if I know that from everything in these 5 columns, it should be in the points codes, I can select these 5 columns. To select everything, I can scroll to where the end of the point list is, hold down Shift and select, and this will select all of the columns. Once all the information is selected that I want to add to my points, I can go to the bottom and select Add to Points. And you can see it gives it a light blue highlight showing that it's been added. Next, you can scroll to the Points tab here, and it'll show what information was added to this. The next step to do is select for which part of the feature coding. So information such as the code, description, color, layer settings. And to do that, you select the column, right click, and then choose which feature this column is. So in this case this is my code column, so I'll select code. This I can right click and say this is my label style, or maybe it's the color. But if I look back here and see there was a point label style as well. So I can select here and I can go label style, description. So this would be my name. And as well there's a layer column. So I can select that, select feature layer. So you can see this one that had style, I didn't give a category to. So I can leave this as skip, and when these features are imported into the FXL, it will skip this column here. As well, I can also add columns. So I can right click here and say add column. And there's already some extra columns here, but it would add a column to the end. As well as I can select a column and delete it. So if I wanted to add more values here, if I wanted to add a include in surface column, I could do that, and I could put a value of yes or a value of no by double clicking on the box and typing. As well as I can right click, copy, and paste these values into columns. So once you're ready with your feature coding, you can select Add to FXL, and it says, okay, 162 features were successfully imported into the FXL. You can say okay. Next, I'm going to go back to the original file, scroll down a ways to where the line coding was located, which is here. And I'll do the same thing. I'll select the first box, scroll to the bottom, hold down Shift, and select this box, and then select Add to Lines. And then I'll scroll to the lines list. Once again, we'll do the same thing. So we'll right click, we'll add code. So this is include in surface, layer. So this is the feature layer. And then finally the style. So this is the line style. And if I wanted, I could include more fields for the rest of these properties for the feature coding. For this case, I'm not worried about it, so we'll leave it. And then I'll say add to FXL. This error dialog pops up because I haven't specified a name for each of the line type layers. So it's important that you select a name. In this case, for time's sake, I'll select this entire column here, hold down Shift. I can right click, say copy, and I'll put in a name column here. I'll right click and say paste. I'll paste the entire column. I'll change this to name. And then right click here, select name. This first line of the file does not need to be included, so I can right click here and say delete, and then I'll delete the entire row. And now I'll say add to FXL, and 49 features were successfully imported. As well, there's room for there's options to enter polygons, blocks, line control codes, and block control codes. Block codes and block control codes are also a new feature of Trimble Business Center version 3.80. There will be another video titled Multi-Block Coding added to this YouTube playlist that will go over this workflow. Once I'm done with adding features to my FXL library, I can select Close. And it'll ask me if I want to close or exit the importer. Say yes. And now we can see that I have a lot of new line features, endpoint features. I can select through, scroll through, here's some codes. You'll notice that with the lines, when I copied the name information or the code information to the name, it renamed the code. This is due to the fact that these cannot be the same value. As you can see, there's also a BC code here. So what it did was automatically rename the code with a -1, so it didn't include two of the same code types. I can double click on this code and it'll bring up the specific properties associated with it. And here you can see the name, the code, the category, feature layers, line type scale, point label, layer settings. Here I can also add attributes and lines and symbol information here as well. So this concludes a demonstration of the import for custom CSV files in the Feature Definition Manager. Next, we'll look at the custom export of CSV files. Now I'll demonstrate the new custom Feature Definition Manager export in Trimble Business Center version 3.80. When you install Trimble Business Center for the first time, Trimble provides a default feature definition library for you to base off, creating new feature libraries for your field uses. First, we'll open this feature definition file. I can select File, Open. It'll automatically default to the Global Features FXL. I'll select that and open. In this FXL that Trimble provides, there is several point, line, and polygon feature codes as well as line control codes. And you can see that here, the line control codes as well as the various types of point and line codes. To utilize the export for the Feature Definition Manager, you can go to File and Export Custom CSV File. This brings up the Custom CSV File export screen. Here you select your target file name and location. I'll put this file on my desktop. I'll call it Custom FDM Export. Press Save. Notice that the default save type for the file is CSV. Select Save, and then next we select the feature properties that we want to export. So this includes all the information for points, lines, as well as polygons, and then the blocks and control codes. So if there's information I do not want to export, I can deselect these boxes. In this case, I will leave them all selected and select Export. Now I can browse to my desktop, open the custom file that I exported. Here you can see it's provided header information for the features that were exported. So the first would be for the points. It gives you the name, category, feature layer, label style, whether it's included in a surface, color, as well as attributes in any of the attribute information. And as you scroll down, you can see there's also headers for the line codes, and therefore all the information from here down to here would be line codes. And now we start with the polygon codes. This one is blank because this was for the block codes, and there was no block codes in my FXL. And then here was for the line control codes, and you can see it gives the name as well as the code as well as what it does. So this information can be utilized in other packages for modeling and drafting purposes. This concludes a demonstration on the Custom Feature Definition Manager export from Trimble Business Center in version 3.80.